Good evening, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with simplertrading.com, and in these free videos I think there has been a lot of discussion on XLY and sometimes some conflicting opinions. So I think inside of that there is a lot that we could learn, and I thought I might take a minute to just share my perspective now that we are through Tuesday's session. So as we evaluate this pattern, if you are strictly focused on trend following trades and you come back and look at something like this weekly chart, I do think into the end of 2020 we're going to see this sector move higher, and we have the potential for a very strong bull market. As we sit right here and now, I think a little bit more caution is warranted. The put-call ratio would suggest that the market is at a very kind of peak complacency type area, and the question of whether or not these lower highs are going to end up being significant, I think is about to be answered. I look at the squeeze in this situation as where momentum is generally rolling lower, or in this case momentum was rolling higher. If this can continue to hold true, there's a case that that squeeze may fire short. Now, up until today, there may have not been a leg to stand on to really argue that, but then you see that Home Depot has this extremely high volume day with very significant selling. And I think that this is, maybe the first straw that begins to break down that ETF. So keep an eye on Home Depot. If that selling begins to turn into something bigger and that squeeze fires short, that should help XLY continue to break to the downside. And then you've got Amazon, which is another of these most curious instances because, obviously Amazon is a huge and awesome company, and I think in a long enough time frame perspective will continue to thrive. The big question right now is that if you start taking out these lows, there's just not a lot of support until you get down into some significantly lower prices. So I too am trying to just take it a day at a time and admit that these signals may not break, but when you've got things that are maybe starting to show just a few things that aren't firing as fully as bulls might like to see, and that we also have markets that are at very complacent levels, I think these are worth making note of and carrying them forward as you think about how to position your trades. So I hope that's helpful, and we'll review which way this ends up breaking here in the next couple of weeks.